Ford Galaxy 2014. We have a little problem here. The CV joint gaiter broke and it's just spitting some oil around, some lubrication. This video can be applied not only particularly for Ford, any car with MacPherson suspension. MacPherson suspension when we have a strut at the top and then big wishbone suspension arm at the bottom, and that's it, nothing else. There are some multi-arm suspensions, but we're not talking about them now. So most of cars have this setup, so you can apply it to your car. As you can see here, this is where the problem is. CV joint gaiter has a crack and it needs to be replaced. This video will show you how to make it easy. Instead of disassembling CV joint and putting some plastic bit, we've got universal joint, which is rubber, which is stretchy, and it's incredibly stretchy. You'll see it in a minute. First, what we're going to do is remove middle bolt. In some cars, that what surprises me, in some cars it's really tiny one, like 13mm in this Ford. In my VW it's 27mm mask, really tight. This is not so tight, it's only 13mm. Nevertheless, you need to remove it. To counter hold, using hand tools, ask someone to press the brakes from inside, or you can use like a little power tool. In this case is enough. We'll get back to it later. As you can see, steering wheel is turned all the way to the right, so we have more access on this end. So we use socket, in our case it's 21mm socket, and we're gonna undo this nut. Now with this nut removed, as any ball joint, it gets a bit sticky on inside, so do not hit on a threaded bit. You can use a tap with the hammer just to shake it off, and so it gets a bit loose. Like that. There you go. Now it's loose. Now the most exciting bit, I can turn it the other way, is the bottom ball joint. On Fords they normally have rivets here and it's a pain in the bottom, so to remove the ball joint you will have to remove this big nut, and then when it gets sticky inside, trying not to damage rubber, but you still have a chance of damaging, but try not to, you put the fork and with a few taps of the hammer you take the ball joint finger out of here. What we've done here in the past, we took the rivets out and replaced them with bolts. In quite a lot of cars it's replaced, they come originally with the bolts already, like my VW, it comes with the bolts. So instead of taking ball joint out, remove this 3 nuts. We have bolts here, sometimes it's just studs and nuts, and then we take this ball joint, disconnect ball joint from the suspension arm. So I'm removing these bolts and nuts. As I said, sometimes it's just the nuts at the bottom. So we're gonna take this completely out, and with the ball joint disconnected, now we can take suitable socket and tap it out, because that's where the drive shaft connects to the bearing. So you just tap it out and then we can remove. So we tap it in, so we can remove drive shaft a bit more. And the drive shaft is out. So we can move all this business aside, and we're dealing now only with the drive shaft, particularly with this joint. We have 2 metal strips here that hold it. Sometimes people use cable ties, which is also not a big deal. Remove this metal belts, one, and then another one. Just go for destroy, and we destroy it. Now we'll take a little knife, sharp preferably, and cut it all off. Mind your fingers, don't cut your fingers, just rubber. New gator normally comes with a new bag of grease, so we can just simply clean it up. Fresh grease is always better. Now is the exciting bit, is getting this rubber cover with a narrow bit, stretch all the way over this bit and get it over. Probably will be quite difficult to do that. Some garages, they have pneumatic devices that can, you just like a big fingers, they stretch everything up. We do it manually. What else have we got here? We've got bag of grease, we're going to use it in, and we've got new ties. As I said, you can use cable ties, it's not that big deal. So we're going to use this plastic cone. It can be bought somewhere, check link in description. If I'll find them, I'll put them there. Sometimes they come together with the gator. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna lubricate this cone, plastic one, and we're gonna put this rubber and then stretch it, this little hole, all the way to this size. Believe me, I couldn't believe it can be possible, but it's done. I'm gonna show you now. So we're gonna lubricate this cone. Lubrication is the way forward. Try not to get any dirt or sand inside there, because if you get any contamination there, it can scratch your inner side of CV joint. It's no good, so keep it clean. I put it on our clean surface, cleaner, put it this way. Now watch this. This little hole will stretch all the way to here. With a bit of confidence, and we do it. Yeah. Now I need to put some more body weight. There we go, see? Now we put it over our drive shaft and then simply push it off. Now we clean this remainings of grease from the outside, check that nothing is trapped on inside, everything nice and clean. For the rear part of the rubber, I prefer to use cable tie. I'll explain you why in a minute. Front one, we're gonna use that metal strip. Rear one, I prefer cable tied. And then we cut it off without damaging rubber, preferably, otherwise we'll have to do this all over again. So we're gonna use this grease to put inside all over here. As the car will be driving, it's all gonna be lubricating anyway, so make sure it's all inside on the metal bits. Then we're gonna close this rubber and put the strip around. Make sure rubber sits happy. You can also use cable tie on the front. I prefer to use these metal bits on the front because they can catch properly. and we're gonna tighten them with a special tool in a minute. And just make sure these little hooks catch in the holes. We use special tightening pliers that squish this bit. So this is what's happening. You concentrate on this. As you can see, it all gets proper tight. With this tool, and you squish it, and now it sits tight, holding with the metal strip. You can do the same on a small one. The problem with the small one I find, it's hard to catch the correct hole with the little hook, and then when you tighten it, and I don't know, I just prefer cable tight on the back. I might be wrong, you can do it the same for the back. That's it. Now we clean up a little bit, then put it back together with a few nuances. I'm not going to show you how to put, just a few things to do. Sometimes this one can be a bit of a struggle to put in. So what you do, you move the brake disc a little bit backwards and forwards to make sure that splines align, and then you push it in. It can be a bit fiddly, but it's doable. Another thing, when you're putting this finger back in, the tie rod end, track rod end, it might spin the nut because it's a ball joint. So as you're tightening it up, it's going to be spinning together with the nut. You use Allen key to counter hold it, and then you tighten it up. And pretty much that's it. If you took the ball joint out, put it in, tighten it up, it will be easy. Well, in our case, we put 3 bolts here, also easy. Put it back together, off you go. Thank you for watching. All useful link in description.